I've put here on the screen now a copy of the most common pay stub, the leave and earnings statement. If you have one like this, you'll notice that I have circled the very box number 11 where it says SCD for leave. Now, this SCD, Service Computation Date, is for leave purposes only. This one cannot be used for your retirement computation. So be careful when you are looking at this date. This may or may not be the actual date that you began to work as a federal employee. We need to make adjustments to that date. But first I want you to stop, look on the pay stub, see that SCD, and think for just a moment, was that the day that I started working for the federal government and I've been full-time ever since? Or is there anything else to deal with your service comp date? So a few things that would factor into adjusting that date: if you had any non-deduction service, any refunded service, or any military service. Those are typically the three areas that we see adjustments to that service computation date for leave purposes to make it a retirement service computation date. Here we have the picture again of your pay stub, and if you'll look now at box 7, you will see that we have locality pay added to your basic pay to get your total compensation now. When we put that together, we're looking for the highest 36 consecutive months of pay to determine that Hi-3. Now, we have a lot of folks that at the end of the career will either take a step down or a step up as they approach retirement, either in promotion, or some folks just tired of dealing with the pressures of managerial roles and will just step back into a lower position, maybe move somewhere where there's less locality pay, and they ask, how will that affect my Hi-3? Let's look at both examples for a moment and see the effects that it would play for you. Number one, let's assume that you're making $100,000 in a management position and you decide to step down to, let's say, $85,000 in non-management position. How will this affect your Hi-3? Well, if you stayed in that $85,000 position for 3 years and then retired, your Hi-3 would be based on the $100,000 income. We would use the highest 36 consecutive months, even though they weren't your last 36 consecutive months. So you can take that step down from that higher pay and not hurt the pension calculation from that highest point. Okay, so hopefully that example makes good sense. What we see is the salary reduction, the $15,000 lost in your paycheck, but now we see that your Hi-3 gets to stay at that $100,000 mark. Let's look at another example. Now let's assume the reverse. You've been making $100,000 a year, and now you have a chance to grow to $115,000 a year. I know it's a nice big increase, and run into a higher management function for those last few years of work. How will that affect your Hi-3? Well, remember that 36 consecutive months is a rolling average, a rolling number. So every month that you have that higher salary, the 36 months ago number drops off. So it's a slow, gradual change. I'm going to show you what that looks like when you're actually doing those annuity calculations. So again, here's our assumptions. $100,000 beginning salary. You got promoted at age 55, meaning you could potentially retire if you didn't take the salary. Let's make that assumption here. And you're now at $115,000 salary. Here is a cutout, a small piece of the federal benefits analysis that we share with federal employees several hundred times a year. And I just want to take our attention just a moment to this projected age of age 56. Let's assume you had your 30 years of credible service and your Hi-3 now, because you've worked at this higher wage for 1 year, your Hi-3 is not $100,000 nor is it $115,000, it's $105,000. That would bring that pension, the annual annuity, up to about $31,500. Now, if you stayed another year till 57, you've now got 31 years of service. Your estimated Hi-3, because another 12 months of the $100,000 vanishes, meaning your annuity is now $34,103. And then if you stayed till 58, now you have a full 36 months in a row at that higher pay, plus COLAs. Again, we were going to assume a 0.5% COLA in your salary every year. We're hoping for COLAs. And again, this is not a promise that you'll get those numbers, but a theory, an idea that would happen. You now have 32 years of service, and you'll see that your Hi-3 is up to $115,000, increasing that pension to almost $37,000. So in this example, a pension of roughly $30,000 a year grows to $37,000 a year incrementally as you complete that 36 months at that higher wage. So it's not an all or nothing thing, it's a sliding scale. Hopefully this helps as you determine should you make that step up in retirement or should you stay where you are to finish out the retirement years. It has to do, notice the several factors, it has to do with what your current wage is, what COLAs will be for you while you're working, and how many years of service that you are acquiring in that process. All those factors create that number. So that's how career changes can affect your Hi-3.